What's up, everybody out there? It's 9 o'clock Monday morning, and basically getting ready for our Monday Chalk Talk. What's up, Stacy? How are you? How you doing on this Monday? So let me see here. Get some comments going. I just want to give everybody a chance to check in. Ice Boogie, what's good with you, man? Good, good. Good to hear. Good to hear, Stacy. Yeah, we definitely just want to take a couple minutes, man. I'm glad you guys are jumping on this particular live. Just to give you guys a quick update, this live is our Monday morning Chalk Talk. So this is our business conversation. So any business owners out there or somebody that's looking at starting a business or already in business, now is a good time to grab your notebook. We're gonna cover a couple different topics today. This is episode 3 of Business Chalk Talk. So definitely been going good, getting a lot of good feedback. So before we get started, if you guys have any business partners, friends, associates, family that's into business, not just the fitness business, but any business, this would be a good time to reach out or tag them or share it, and we'll go ahead and get started in a couple minutes here. I always like to just take a little bit of time to let everybody get situated, get ready to go. So this, once again, is Monday Chalk Talk, which is every single Monday, 9 a.m. So this one for me is super, I love it. This is where my passion is, man, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. I'm always into sharing, my experience, sharing my knowledge with other business owners that are just getting started or already in business, man, just to brainstorm and bounce ideas back and forth, or it's a lot of positive energy in that. So once again, this is Business Chalk Talk. We are live on Instagram. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube. So we're all over the board with this one, but just want to make sure this is available to everyone. So tag somebody and we'll definitely get started. Got a couple topics on Facebook. You guys should be able to probably see it on the whiteboard behind me, but we're going to go ahead and get going. So I just want to welcome everybody in. What's up, G? I think that's G on there. What's going on? All right. So remember, on both sides, you guys are definitely welcome to comment. I definitely love the feedback, questions, things like that, or just your experience. You can type it in. I'll read it on both screens. I have the IG phone going here, and then I also have YouTube and Facebook comments on my desktop, or excuse me, on my laptop right here in front of me. So we're ready to go. So number one, let's go ahead and get right into it. So just right off the top, I do want to share that right now we definitely, or I definitely have a pretty clear view of what's going on, with the coronavirus and the severity of what's going on in our country, and people being out of work and a lot of uncertainty. Right now it looks like we have a couple more weeks of being quarantined, and then we'll transition hopefully back to what we call normal. But in any case, it's tragic that we are in this position. So I just want to recognize that and just encourage everyone to stay safe, be smart, and as we work through this together. So just wanted to say that before we got started. And now I want to go right into today's topics on our Business Chalk Talk. So today's topic. So once again, if you are a business owner, or a business owner, or you're even considering starting a business, in my opinion, this is just my opinion from my experience, I think now is a great time to do it. I think now is a great time to invest in yourself. With experiences like this, you see how fast things could turn. And then, you also see, what you're in control of and what you're not in control of. A lot of people are losing their jobs right now. A lot of people have uncertainty right now. And there's a lot of you that are watching now, and that I'm sure will watch this same broadcast later. And you've been wanting to start your own business at some point. You've been wanting to do it. Maybe you just felt like it wasn't the right time, or you didn't have money saved, or you didn't want to quit your regular job, things like that, which are totally understandable. But in times like this, you're probably thinking like, man, I probably should have started it. You maybe you're in a better position right now than you're in. Who knows? But this broadcast or this live is about business owners and giving you different strategy to help you start your business and also help you be successful. So this is episode 3. If you're on YouTube or if you're on IG, then go to our YouTube page and you'll see episode 1 and 2 and the different topics. So episode 1 was more about this being a great time to start your business, some keys to starting your business. Just some strategy that I used when I started phase 1 back, almost, I guess 17 years ago now. And also some info on some other business ventures that I'm into right now. Episode 1, episode 2, which was last week, we talked about target audience. We talked about how to define your target audience. Who are you talking to? Who's your market? So that was a great episode. A lot of good feedback from that episode. So now we're going to transition to today's topic is revenue streams. So multiple revenue streams is really what today's subject is. And I know that, when you say multiple revenue streams, it sounds very simple. Of course, yeah, we want to make money a lot of different ways. So let me just get a little more specific on what I mean in today's conversation. What we're going to discuss over the next 15, 20 minutes is revenue streams as it pertains to your business. So whether you're a personal trainer, whether you own a shop, whether it's retail, whether it's online, whatever it may be, we're talking about multiple revenue streams within that business. So this conversation isn't about multiple businesses creating revenue streams. This is about revenue streams within your business, within your one primary or your one focus point or your one business. So here's an example of that. So with phase 1, we do, of course, personal training. We do classes. We sell apparel, like the shirt I have on right now, supplements. So those are all multiple revenue streams under the one business, under the one umbrella of phase 1 sports. So that's what we're going to talk about, and I want to get even more detailed with it and discuss different revenue streams and different categories and what they mean exactly. Because I think a lot of business owners, when we get started, we just really want to do everything. We're trying to change the whole world overnight. And so, we start with, any idea. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work with this kind of person, and you're just all over the board. And then in reality, you wake up in a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and you're just exhausted, and you're looking and you're trying to figure out why you haven't accomplished everything that you feel like you should have accomplished by that point. And I think a lot of times it's because we don't have more of a strategy or more of a game plan going in. And so that's what I want to talk about today is your multiple revenue streams, how to be strategic with those multiple streams, and exactly how to define the categories. So let's get right into it. So the first revenue stream, and I'll be typing on this one. Don't mind my spelling if it gets a little crazy, but we'll keep it going. So the first revenue stream, number 1 is going to be transaction. So transaction is going to be our first one. So if you think about, your average business, we'll look at, let's see here, boom. So number 1 is going to be transaction. So a transaction is pretty simple, right? So a transaction is, if it's a product, you have a clothing store, you sell shirts, or maybe you sell them online. Transaction is, I walk into your store, I go to your website, I pick out a shirt, I want a size large, I add it to my cart, I check out, I purchase that. That was a transaction. So that is one stream of revenue, so, and for most businesses, that is your primary stream of revenue is a transaction. Just a quick exchange. If it's a service, it could be a service industry, like training, for example. I know there's a lot of fitness, a lot of personal trainers that follow me on all social media. So if you look at your training, that service, that is a different category because it's based on a time exchange. So for number 1, we want to focus on just the transaction. What is the product list. And so what I would recommend, just for long-term success, for multiple revenue streams, if you're in a transaction business, meaning shirts, apparel, might be a product. If you're in a transaction business, then I would definitely start to think about how to incorporate other streams, and don't just be limited, to that one form of revenue. Because I think that's what happens in a lot of business ventures, especially in the beginning phases. It's like, and I sell, hats. These are my hats. I have 10 different hats. And so it's very one-dimensional on that product. The only way that you generate money is by selling that one individual product. And then, of course, as you grow, you transition to multiple products, which is great, because now you're adding a little bit of diversity in there. So you have multiple products, but it's still based on one thing, a transaction. So the only time you get paid is what? When someone purchases one of those products or multiple products in exchange for cash, and that becomes your transaction. So very good starting point for business, very good starting point, but also very limited. And you also have to factor in your cost of acquisition. So what that means is, how much does it cost you to get that one customer? So that's kind of headed down the marketing side, but let's keep it simple. Okay, you sell t-shirts. You buy the t-shirt for $5. You sell it for $20. That's a $15 margin. But now when you look at your cost, did you do any Facebook ads? Did you do any Instagram ads? Did you do any marketing, any flyers? What did you do to get that person to go from their computer to your website, to your store, to your cart, and then pay you to receive that shirt? So that's your cost. So there's other factors. So you can't just look at it like each transaction, I profit $15. That is your profit margin, but there's also cost. So transaction is number one. That's a good starting point, but I would always say look at multiple or different areas. So let's go right into number two. So number two is going to be a service. So service is basically all of us personal trainers out there, all of us out there that maybe a consultant, you're in the service industry. That could be, even it could even be a lawyer, whatever. If you're providing a service in exchange for a fee, you could be a marketing guy, you could be a social media manager, you can be, whatever it is in the service industry. In our world, it could be a personal trainer. You exchange your service for payment, for goods. So at the end of the day, if I'm a trainer and I charge whatever, I charge $80 an hour. So if I charge $80 an hour, then basically that is the exchange. So it's not necessarily a transaction, because a transaction, remember, is a product. So now we're going into a service. So I'm exchanging, in a sense, my time for money. So every hour I basically generate $80 for that session, and that's the service in exchange. So now a person can pay me for 10 hours up front. If I'm a consultant, I might say, it's going to cost you $1,000 a month, and it's going to be this many hours of consulting. So that would be a service industry. So what I would recommend is, no matter what your business field is, really start to rack your brain on how can you provide a service. It could be, for me, example, being in the gym business, fitness business, and now I work with a lot of young trainers. I've become, a mentor to a lot of younger trainers just getting started, trainers that want to open a facility, want to open their own gym. And so I become more of a mentor. And so that grows into being a consultant, for example. Basically people can pay for an hour to talk about business strategy or advice. So that becomes another revenue stream in the service category. So number one was going to be that transaction, multiple revenue streams. Number one, transaction, exchange. I buy a product, I give you cash, you're happy, I'm happy, I walk away. Now, in order to get me back, I have to come back to buy another product. Maybe it's a different color. Maybe it's a newer version. Maybe it's, a summer gear versus the last thing I bought was winter. But you have to keep working in order to keep generating transactions. And then number two is provide a service. Service works very similar because I can pay for a service today, and then once I'm done with that service, you may not see me again. Or it could be an extended service to where I pay for, personal training. I pay for 20 sessions. So I know you're going to see me for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks as we work through those 20 sessions. So number two would be service. Let's go into number three. Number three is a project. So number three being a project. So number three, if that is a project, that can be another form of service, but now we're working very specific. If you're a consultant, it could be, I'm going to pay you X amount to help me open this gym. So we know we're working from right now until that gym opens. And when that opens, I'm done. That's a project. So it could be, if you help people write business plans, for example, the project can be, I'm going to pay you X amount to help me or to create this business plan for this new business that I want to start. So you're working on this project. You could be a videographer. The project could be creating a marketing campaign, for our next classes at our gym. So you're involved. I'm bringing you in to work on this project. So by being in that type of industry, it's great to have multiple projects going at the same time, because those projects basically represent your revenue stream throughout the course of the year. And the only, one of the downsides is you have to continue to build relationships, continue to market yourself, because once each project is complete, you're back to zero. If you have it could be a 6-month project, but at the end of 6 months, guess what? You're back to zero. So being in the service industry, working on projects can be a great revenue stream. There's a lot of projects that can pay you large amounts of money, large lump sums up front, another at the halfway mark. And then at completion of the project, you get 100%. So great opportunity and a great revenue stream, which is number three, which is projects. Got it? So now let's transition to number four. Number four, one of my favorite. Number four is recurring. So let's go recurring. So basically your recurring revenue can be huge as well. So this is number four, and our last one is recurring. So now what is recurring? Recurring, I think, is a great tool, because what recurring does, number one, it gives you a good way to make projections. Because I know I have, 100 members paying me $10 a month. So I know exactly what I'm generating for the next month, provided, of course, some people fall off, or I might add a couple new people, but I can create a pretty solid, a pretty detailed projection, not just over the course of 1 month, but typically over the course of the year. Because I could also say, okay, in January, I had 10 subscribers. And then in February, it went up by 3. So it went up 30%. So I could take that trend and I can project it out over the next 12 months to say by December of 2020, I should be at X number. I should be at 300 subscribers generating X amount per month. So recurring revenue is a great tool, is a great way to not only generate another stream of revenue, but also have some type of projection as you go out. So that's number four, is recurring. So right now, if we recap, the reason I wanted to really go in detail with each one of these, the reason I wanted to do that is because I feel like a lot of times in business, we just get good at going fast. We get good at just sprinting and just getting it done and just figuring it out. But I think if I would have spent more time in the beginning, more time in those earlier stages and really detailing out these different multiple revenue streams and really saying, okay, in this stream, I want A, B, C, D. And then in this stream, I want A, B, C, D. And now if I could work through all 4 streams, look how much more powerful and how much more revenue my business is generating now. And not only that, you could also start to look at more security. You know, if I have 4 different revenue streams right now with the quarantine, for example, transaction at a gym, at a facility, transaction, you know, could be limited right now if it's in person. You know, service obviously could be limited right now because people are not inside the facility. But, you know, if I have some projects that I'm working on, those projects could very well still be going. If I have multiple, or if I have recurring revenue, you know, an online training program that people pay, you know, $10 a month, and I have 1,000 subscribers, guess what? That can continue, because a lot of those people are still going to see value in that recurring, and they're not going to cancel it. Some will. That's the nature of the business. But a lot of people will continue to pay you that recurring monthly fee, just like the things you have at your home, just like your Netflix, just like your Hulu, you know, all your subscriptions that right now, some of them, you don't even know that you have them still. And they've been charging you $10 a month for 3 years and you don't even know, you know. So if you look at that, that's a recurring, that's number 4. That's a recurring revenue stream that these businesses are making millions of dollars. And then there's people like us that are paying that every single month, and we don't even log into that account. We don't even know. We've literally forgotten that we set that account up. Recurring. And we're just adding to their bottom line. So quick recap, and then we'll close it out. So if you guys have any questions or anything, now's the time to shoot them out. We're basically going to wrap it up, bring it back in. Check it on IG right now. Appreciate it, Mike, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, my man. So any questions, comments, now's a good time to throw them out. So let's go through a quick recap. So first revenue stream, transaction. That's a product. You know, that's a clothing store. You know, that's a shirt. That's a hat. That's a, you know, I sell cars. Here's my product. Give me my cash. I give you the product. It's happy. You're happy. I'm happy. You walk away. I have to either remarket, retarget you to get you back in to make your next purchase, or I have to go to the next customer. Whatever it is, transaction. I don't care if you're selling vacuums door to door. When I buy one at my door, I'm off your list. You have to go to my neighbor. I've already bought one. I'm done. Transaction. Number 2, service industry. Service, whatever that may be. I'm a consultant. You know, hey, what do you need help with? You know what I mean? I'm a counselor. I'm a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? I'm going through something. I need to go see a psychiatrist. So I'm going to sit down. I want 3 sessions for X amount. And at the end of my 3 sessions, hey, thank you. I'm good. We shake hands. I appreciate it. I'm better. I'll let you know if I need you in the future. Service industry. It's an exchange for service. It can be long-term because you can stretch it out. Personal trainers, you make it long-term by doing what? By selling a package with 50 training sessions. That's how you make it long-term. You know, so you do have that ability in number 2, which is service. Number 3, project. This is a good one. This is one I think everyone should start, you know, really opening your eyes to try to be involved with more projects. If somebody's working on something, someone's building something, someone is, you know, building out an online program, you know, see if you can get involved with that. See if you could be a part of that program, because it's a project. They're going to look at it and say, man, I'm going to bring you in for this amount of time. We're going to build this up. We're going to complete it. We're going to take it to day 1. And at day 1, we're going to wash our hands and we're done. And that project is off and running. So try to be involved with projects throughout the year. 3, 4, 5 different projects can really change your bottom line. So I really like number 3. And then we'll go into number 4, recurring. You know, this is one that I'm working on even in this moment, because I think this one just may be the most powerful of all 4. So recurring, think about it like this. If you could build some type of business, some type of structure that gets people to even pay you $10 a month, $9.99 for whatever you do, whatever you have, whatever your gift is, if you can get people to pay that and you build that thing up to 1,000 subscribers, you're doing pretty good. And you just keep continuing to give whatever it is that program entails, whether it's a weekly tip, whether it's coaching, whether it's, you know, a new program if you're in the fitness industry, you know, whether it's a mastermind group, you know, of business entrepreneurs, they pay a low cost. Recurring is typically a lower cost because you want volume. So you can go a lower cost, create a recurring system that allows you to get paid every single month and gives you projection into the future. And now it's easier to even focus on your marketing, because, you know, if I do A, B, C, D, it's typically going to result in an increase of 10% in my subscribers. So now if you do more of that, it's going to result, and it's a recurring fee. So that means you can spend more energy getting them into the system because it's recurring. They're going to stay. And then it's just about managing. So that becomes number 4. That becomes number 4. So let me check the board before we get out of here. So, okay, good. So first question is very simple. Let me see here. How many, let me see. How many revenue streams do I recommend? I mean, all 4. And this is what I will say, you know, and I'll see if I can type it in here. How many revenue streams I recommend? How many revenue streams do I recommend? So for me personally, my thoughts are, I would start off by focusing on your primary revenue stream. So if that's transaction, that's transaction. So focus on that one first. But I would not do what I did, which I focused on the first one, and then I went years before I started to think about number 2, 3, and 4. You know, and I think that was a mistake. You know, so I think in the beginning, whatever your initial business is, that's where you want to spend majority of your energy. But as soon as you feel comfortable, as soon as that's up and running, as soon as you're generating revenue, you know, for example, you know, if you're doing it in you know, transaction, for example, you're selling shirts. As soon as you start to build that momentum and you're selling those shirts, then I would start thinking right off the top, you know, could I create a service in here? You know, what could I do? I know there's other people that want to start, you know, t-shirt businesses. Could I be a consultant to them? You know, what if I had the shirt of the month and it was a recurring process? What if people paid $20 a month and every time I dropped a new shirt, they automatically got it? That would be recurring. It didn't matter. Some shirts they might love, some shirts they might not like. It's fine, but it's recurring. They're excited because every month they open a box that has a new shirt, recurring. You know, so that's the kind of mindset. You know, project. If I'm in the shirt business, a project could be a fashion show. You know, I know a company's having a fashion show. Hey, could I be a part of it? Can we incorporate my clothing, my shirts into it? You know, could I help you coordinate it? It's a project. You know, we're going to work, and the fashion show is on this day, and at the end of that, it's over. It could be online, whatever the case may be. So that's a great question. How many revenue streams do I recommend? I recommend ultimately you get through all 4 revenue streams in the perfect world. You know, so that's what I would recommend. So with that, man, I think I only have that one question flying right now. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you on. You know, I just love what we do, man. And this right here, man, this Monday morning Chalk Talk, you know, is really important to me because, you know, in the 17 years that I've been in business, man, I feel like one of the downsides is, you know, I didn't spend enough time listening to people that have already done it. You know, there's a lot to be learned in experience. There's a lot to be learned, and people will share it. You know, I know sometimes you feel like, you know, people that are at whatever level, if they're a level above you, you feel like, you know, oh man, they're not going to waste the time, or I don't want to send them a message, that kind of thing. But trust me, man, majority of the people, 99%, love to hear from people that are just getting started. You know, I know for myself, when people reach out to me, I love it, man. I take time, I reply to it all, and then, you know, I'll jump on the phone, I'll do it all. You know, and I know there's people that are above where I'm at that I reach out to, man, and you know, I take them to lunch, and, you know, I offer them a good lunch. You know, of course, not right now, but when we get back to our normal, you know, offer them a good lunch at Brio or something, and typically that $30 lunch will get me thousands of dollars worth of knowledge and experience and wisdom. So that's just another way to do it, man. So if whoever that person is, whoever you look up to in your industry, don't be afraid to reach out to them. If it takes them a little while to get back, I mean, they're busy. It's part of the deal. But don't be afraid to reach out to get that information. I mean, we love to share. I love to share, and the people that I've reached out to that are at a, what I would consider a higher level, or even where I'm trying to get to, so far they've been very, very receptive. One thing that I will say is that most of the time when you reach out and you have that conversation and somebody gives you that one or two takeaways, the one or two things that they think you should do or you should change, my advice to you is to change them. And when you change them, reach back out to that person and let them know that you took their advice and you executed that game plan. And that's where the reward is for them. Not just that they shared the information with you, but that you actually went out and utilized it. So that's what becomes important, man. So I don't know how far we are in. I'm looking at my clock. I don't even know if it's right, but we're getting close to that line. Yep, we're 30 minutes in, which I love. That's right on schedule. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you missed it, if you tuned in late, I'm going to save it on IG as well as YouTube and Facebook. So go back, find it, man, and share it with somebody that needs to hear it. And I'll see you guys next Monday, 9 a.m. Chalk Talk. Check it out. Business owners, man, every week we're coming at you live. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.